Thank you to all the panelists for being here. Welcome. So I think I'd like to start today's panel by first trying to understand the history of the transgender community, its relevance, and how does it translate into today's world. Serish, would you like to?
So, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and thank you so much, moderate, participant, and my panelist. And it's a really honor to me being a part of this lovely session. So, historically, the Khwaja Sira person was placed in very unique place, was held in a very unique place in Mughal era, especially the history of South Asia. We not only accepted, but we also got the respect, and often we was appointed as a guardians of the royal household. Like the Khwaja Sara person was part of the security of queens and female areas of the Mughal eras, and also not only guardians of the household, royal household, we are also part of the warriors and tribes of the Mughal era. Like similarly, we have example like Bahadur Shah Zafar, last tribe movement. One of the transgender person was Sipi Salah. He's taking all all over the movement of the Bahadur Shah Zafar before the colonial. Rest of the colonial laws is enter in the subcontinentals. So the colonial policy was a very different. They destroyed the actual respect of the transgender person. Their policy was a worse for the transgender person, and even they refused the all contribution of transgender person, which was actually was put the effort by the trans people in Mughal era. But similarly, beside this all challenges, now we are in 21st century. We are regain our respect throughout the local government. As you already mentioned, that me and Shizadi, we are the part of the local government. Our voice are here in governments through the local government, and we have especially the spaces are open for the transgender person. This is the first initiative in the Make It a History by the Sindh government for us. They are providing the actual spaces for the transgender people. So that is a history, but similarly, it's a best practice we need to be highlight that what we are right now. Although the challenges are remain same, we have a hate campaign, our Trans Protection Act is also challenged in Sharia code. People called our self-identification is haram, and similarly, we are the discrimination and the disowning by families and every issues. Even every trans person does not have any safe space for the surviving. When we have a disown with by your family,
My own family, yes.
you came out to the society, and in which they face the lots of issues like abusive, sexual violence, and the society has forced to attach with the stereotype.
So Malia, maybe Serish, Malia can perhaps give us a little bit of context on what are some of the legal challenges that we face in discrimination for transgender rights, and what is it that the government is actually doing about it?
All right. I think legally Pakistan has had a very interesting passage. So in 2018, the government passed the Transgender Act, which I think was phenomenal because for the first time it actually recognized the transgender community as a legal community. It identified the transgender community as having rights, and it was not about having rights, but it specifically barred the discrimination of access to your fundamental human rights for the transgender community. It recognized for the first time that a self-identified gender was an acceptable gender. It emphasized the importance of ensuring fundamental protections such as education, employment, property rights, just movement rights. All of these rights were enshrined in that act. Now, in one way, it should not have been necessary because the constitution itself applies to every citizen of Pakistan, irrespective of sex and gender and identity and religion. But it was also felt to be a very powerful and meaningful act to bring that issue into the mainstream. So if we talk about from a positive point of view, the law did do that. It brought the issue of the transgender community, which was previously a very niche issue or a very hidden issue, not something we talked about too much, and it catapulted into the mainstream at a federal level. Unfortunately, in 2023, the Federal Shariat Court declared some of the provisions of that law haram. People such as myself, and I'm sure all of us panelists over here, very strongly disagree with the Federal Shariat Court. We feel that the interpretation of Islam or social practices or precepts is very, very, very limited and conservative and did not take into the nuances of the larger religious debates. But I also do want to emphasize at this point is the Federal Shariat Court is still an advisory body. It does have a certain level of mandate, but the Supreme Court still has the ultimate mandate to make decisions such as this. So I'm looking to the Supreme Court now to hopefully overturn this Federal Shariat Court decision. But where I do want to emphasize again is the fact that this law may be there, or may, in its limited format, where it's actually challenged and struck down the idea of the self-perceived identity, and I think that's what we really need to focus on. But the Constitution still exists. The Constitution still exists, and the Constitution still gives those rights, and we need to start talking about how we take the existing laws to make sure that discrimination and that social practices, those are still stopped. We still have that responsibility. The 2023 law has done nothing to take away that obligation on the state to do so.
Shehzadi, would you like to talk a little bit about the Sharia law that was passed? Because I know that you have been fighting that.
Yes, like in Shariat court, I went, and unfortunately we lost the case. And during the proceedings, the behavior was so many discriminated. Even I, like from Sindh province, I was the one who represent the case and defending the law, and I given my response, and they just like reject the response without reading and said it is based on culture, and here we are discussing our religious things. And I think the verdict of Shariat court was like given by those judges which was in on pressure by the religious political parties. And in this way, now they publicly announced the verdict that transgender community is now haram in Pakistan, and if haram word is attached in Pakistan, so it's very difficult to remove and to even challenge. Whenever I speak on any place, within any gathering, in any panel, that Shariat court made the mistake, people take it very seriously that you are challenging the Shariat. Then I'm saying that I'm not challenging the Shariat, but I'm talking about the decision who made by the human.
Yes,
absolutely. I'm not challenging the religion. I'm only challenging the decision which is made by the those court, and that's it. And
But
still we are like facing the backlash in the society. Now the people, now the transphobic people have legitimate reason to hate us, that the religion is now banned you, now you are haram, and this affect the ground community most. Like honestly, we are privileged, we are sitting here, we are doing good job. I'm the first trans city councillor, but it's still those who do sex work, those who do dance function, those who is depending on the begging are now most effective ground community. And unfortunately, it's sad to say no one can speak about them, because the dancing, begging and sex work is almost illegal in Pakistan. So defending in legally, it's really hard. And thank you so much for Malia. She support us from last 2016 or 15. I went to their office and discussed something about the trans community issue, and at that time the things was too worst. And in early 2000, and even in 2012 and 13, we all trans person got raped every day. And because of few activists, because of the feminists, we changed this all thing by our own hand to pushing the government. And I really appreciate when I met with her at your home, and at that time she was crying when I just like telling the actual story of the transgender community. So it, in my opinion, it's very on the person to person. If a person in position and a trans friendly person and have some certain human right background, so they can do a great work for the transgender community. But if a transphobic person is taking the seat in a position, it will be so much difficult for the transgender community to survive in this country.
And I think the phobia probably comes from not understanding and not having a dialogue and not being able to communicate, because when you communicate and listen to the narrative or the story, then that's when you're able to relate to it, then you resonate with it, because as human beings, you face the same challenges. Those are the same challenges all of us face. So when we are able to see the humanity in it, that's when we are able to change the narrative from hate into understanding and acceptance.
I guess when it comes to talk about the transgender community, every person, every cis person takes some kind of position and holding a position that they can advise us, they can dictate us what we will do, how we like spend our life, what should our like lifestyle, which is long. Like we people left our home, like our family disown us, we like fight the whole society, and after all this hate we like faced, now we are not listening to you to dictate us on our life. Like, and it's still like, thank you so much for like giving us platform to speak by our choice, because most of the like in media, in like sessions, even in parliament, first you have to approve your speech by the authorities, because you have certain limitation. And when the hate campaign is ongoing against transgender community, the national media invite us, and like then the other guest was the Maulvi, and like they said, not talking about the gender, not talking, you should not talk about the sex, not talking about the surgeries, then why they invite us?
Yes.
So this is the difference, and I really appreciate that we have such SOT and other few other platforms who give us a free speech. Thank you.
No, I think it's most important that we are able to hear the stories and we are able to understand what you're experiencing, because otherwise we also get told a very skewed version from how the media talks about it or what we hear. So it is very important for all of us to hear your stories firsthand. It makes a big difference. Maha, would you like to talk a little bit about some of your part in empowering this community?
Of course. So coming back to the policy also, I feel like policy making around the transgender community has almost become a child's play. You know, how can you dehumanize and criminalize such a community where someone is telling them, oh, these are your rights, then those rights are suddenly being taken away. It's that mindset that's deep rooted, you know. I remember when I started my organization, some people in my own family, people who were in positions of, great power, who've done a lot for the country in the past, when I started my initiative and I told them that I want to empower the Khwajasara, the transgender community, I faced a lot of backlash within my own family. And, you know, change begins at home. That's where you start. And I thought that everyone would stand beside me and, like, you know, it would be really revolutionary. So the first prototype that I had made, I had sent out as an invite. And they had not even, bothered to open that invite. Why? Because it was made by a transgender person. So that was something that really put me a step back, because I was like, okay, now first I need to fix my own family before I jump out into the world to fix other people. And I faced many challenges throughout the entirety of my journey, but my perception is it's got nothing to do with religion, it's got nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with sex. At the end of the day, you are recognized as a human being, and as long as you are living and breathing, you need to be given certain rights that would be given to anyone,
Basic rights.
Basic rights,
Basic
basic rights. And so that's how, Manush also came into being. Most of the team, my entire Khwaja Sara ki jo team hai, they have become family members now. They consider me their own daughter. Some of them don't even feel, they can't share their problems with me because वो मुझे बेटी मानते हैं. So they go to my mom. तो उनको शर्म आती है. बट एट द एज ऑफ 17 जब हमारी जो फर्स्ट ख्वाजा सरा थी वो सना थी, एंड हाउ होता है कि आपको हमेशा दुआ लेनी चाहिए, बदुआ नहीं लेनी चाहिए, इस तरह का हमारे दिमाग में एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग थी. एंड आई वाज सिटिंग इन द कार एंड आई हैड माय CIEs coming up and I was bawling, like I was crying and crying because I thought कि I'm going to flunk and something's going to happen. So Sana was passing by and my mom said, maybe talk to her. हम क्योंकि इस तरह बातें करते थे, तो Sana said, wait, I have to get my सदके का गोश्त, तो मैं वापसी पे आती हूँ. वो बहुत गुस्से में थी. फिर भी I was very insisting कि no, please talk to me. जब मैंने बात की तो again I mentioned this reality check at the panel yesterday as well, when she told me that you're living a full life, you don't face the problems that we face. The first interaction with her of mine was that she wanted to get a pack of cigarettes from a shop like Imtiaz, and she said, if I go तो मुझे अंदर नहीं जाने देंगे. And मुझे at that age I could not understand कि this is also a problem, and that's where the journey began. And I thought empowerment by providing them with a skill set, vocational skills, उससे self sufficiency इतनी होती है कि कल को they will not have to put out a lending hand to someone else. They can run a business of their own. They can develop an understanding कि how self-sufficiency can play such a pivotal role for them in the community. Yeah.
Amalia, we were talking earlier about separating culture, religion and societal. So would you like to elaborate on that a little bit? Because I think we tend to get all of those boundaries
Confused,
very
yeah.
blurred. Yeah.
No, I think that's essential, and I think that's a conversation which we should have more in Pakistan generally, overall as well. We are taught, I think, from this rhetoric from childhood, ya bachpan se, all the messaging that we get from our elders, from the TV, from the media, that this is what religion demands, this is what religion expects. But we're only taught one kind of religion as well. Okay? And then you have to recognize that your religion interpretations hai, those are our own interpretations of it, which are biased based on our culture and our history. Agar hum apart from transgender movement के अलग ज़रा सा अलग बात करें, honor killings, child marriages, all of these things, murder, just what we were talking about earlier on, on one side you have all of these people saying transgender is haram, but they have no issues killing them, which is also haram, or harming them.
100%.
It's selective religion, and it's selective because of your culture. And it's important to inform ourselves. देखिए हम Google कर लेंगे, you type in one thing, you're going to read what you want to read. It's important to educate yourself and realize that maybe religion says this, but maybe it doesn't. There are words which have been interpreted differently by everyone. Pakistani society has chosen to interpret some words in a certain way, certain phrases in another way. Educate yourself. What is religion? What is culture? What is society? Because I think that is so essential. We look at other countries, we look at it's very, very different. And until we're able to do that, that is our main issue as well. Because I think कि जो हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं, even if we talk about any religion, humanity, peace is the core of all of the major religions of the world.
Absolutely.
And there is no religion, there's no law, there's no concept of human rights which allows you to discriminate against anyone. There's no law, religion which says do not allow them to work, do not allow them to educate, beat them, deny them. Nothing allows that. And the fact is that there are people who try to justify that kind of exclusion on the name of religion. It's not, it's in the name of your culture, it is in the name of your personal belief. And we need to call out this differentiation. Because this coat or armor of culture or religion, this armor of religion
yes.
is incorrect, and we need to break that myth. Very important as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. 100% agree, because I think humanity, the basic tenets of humanity, like you said, are across all religions the same. So basic respect, basic tolerance, basic understanding, those are all something that we should practice, but we don't. Again, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy in our society. So we need to, by these kind of communications, we need to change the dialogue a little bit. Shehzadi, you were speaking earlier about the Western ideology and South Asian ideology, and how it plays into how people perceive your community. And would you like to perhaps talk about that a little bit?
On Pasha. Like normally, people attach transgender community, Khwajasra community to Western people. Like they are the Western agent, they are the Yehudi agent, they are the Israeli and ye are wo. But there is a huge difference. Like in Pakistan, in South Asia, we consider ourselves as a third gender. We don't consider ourselves as a woman, we don't consider ourselves as a man, because there is some certain cultural contexts, religious contexts, and as a community, not an individual person, I think little different, but right now I'm giving you the perspective of my community, what my community is asking about the government, that just basic human rights. Give us a third gender identity card and give us a basic human rights like education, vote, health, doing job. That's the basic things. But the West, like Western problem and the Western issues, what transgender are facing, like that, if a trans woman, in West, a trans woman got the NIC of woman, and they will get all the rights of like woman. And if a trans man, same, they got the all rights of man, and they can like go to the like in sports and the beauty pageants, but that's not our issue. In the hate campaign, they attach us with them because most of the like 98% of transgender community are uneducated, unemployed. You seen in them roads. We are not asking about the beauty pageants and like and going for the sports and Olympics. Even we don't dream about it. Like you are not giving us such mind or everything, which is very difficult for us. So right now we simply want our basic human rights, and please, I'm here to educate you. Like most of the people, when it comes to the transgender community, are like asking us about the Shariat. Even whenever I was like in national media, the anchor was very beautiful and having hairs and a beautiful dress without the dupatta and asking about the Shariat to me. And they forced me कि आप शरीयत के से बाहर हैं, no Shahzadi, this is out of the Shariat. So this is very wrong thing. Like we are here to live our life by our own like in own rules. And as Malia said, if your religion teach you to hate someone, so this is not your good religion. So change your religion. So
There
go
is
for
no
a
such
peace.
religion. There is no such
And
religion.
there is a huge difference from Western terminologies and in Pakistani or in like South Asian terminologies. Even if you had a visit on Thailand, a trans woman in Thailand called themselves a lady boy. And in India and in Bangladesh and Nepal, they said kinnar. We use hijra, khwajasra. We have our own terminologies for whole LGBTI community. But unfortunately, like we are following the Western terminologies and we are such obsessed with the English, although I'm trying to learn and like speaking a good English, although like it's really like it's very important to speak in the international level, but the language is the big barrier. Honestly, I'm not formally educated, and it's really hard for us to communicate our problems, to communicate our thinking to the people. So like this is the main difference. This is your question. Like our problems and our issues and our demands are different to the West. So stop connecting us to the like Western ideology. We have our own ideology and we respect other ideology aspect. We respect the Western ideology, but in the written, we like really want the respect as well of our cultural values and our cultural terminologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Zerish, when we talked earlier, you had also talked about the one thing that you don't have as a community, and that's something that's very important to you, is to have somewhere safe. So safe houses, and that is not accessible to your community, and I think it's very much needed.
Yeah, actually this is a needed because being a organization and represented the organization, we are providing the safe spaces in somehow, because this is organization, being an organization, we have a specific budget, but rest of this whole responsibility of the government.
Yes.
Yeah, we are equality, like beside that, we are now considered as minorities peoples in the Pakistan. We have a rights for the rights as a citizen of Pakistan, but we don't have any kind of any safe space for the community. uh, I really appreciate Shizadi. She's facing the violence cases many times since 2018 to 17. She is facing, and also she has also faced the harassment, violences from the against the party. And within this dealing all those things, sometimes our own life has been risked. We facing the lots of threats from the against parties, and also sometimes we face the violence also, but we don't have any safe space for that. Even we don't have a justice. I appreciate Maliha and Legal Rights Forum, those are the hubs for the provide the justice for the minority people and underprivileged peoples, but rest of the people are the against party are more effective, more influence as compared to us. Because in the judiciary side, we are very weak to take the justice in Pakistan. Whatever we are the empowered trans women, or we are the normal our lives. So safe houses is a very important. It's mandatory for the every trans people, because there is some of organization or government level women for women side, we have a organization or the institution for the providing the safe space for the women, also disabled person, child and old age, but not for the transgender person, because I've initially mentioned that we on from the family first, and rest of we came after the 50s, after we are surviving in age of the 70s and 80s. Similarly, families is also disown. At the moment, we really need the space where we survive the last moment of the life. And similarly, we really need the space for the young people. As I also mentioned, the young people came out from the family and they faced this actual sexually abuse, discrimination from the society. Even we don't have an education, we don't systematic education for the transgender person, we don't have any right. Although we are raising, being a government part of the government, we are raising these concerns. The transgender person are facing the several discrimination about the surviving, but still it's a pending side for the government.
So Malia, what can the government do and what can we do to help protect this vulnerable community a little more? Because as we've talked about, they're very, very vulnerable and open to a lot of hatred.
No, I think it's very important. I think where we talk about there's of course the larger strategy thing and what we're talking about, and I think what Maha is doing is fantastic, because the empowerment of the community itself, and I think those are organizations such as Maha's organizations, or GIA, or Legal Aid Society, my organization, where we're providing that reactive response as well. Okay, once something happens, then that's where we come in. I think we need the focus on prevention also needs to come in as well. I think what Zerish the fact that the children, uneducated or low educated, without empowerment, without independent sources, वो घर से निकाले जा रहे हैं, or they have to leave for their own safety even within the home as well. Where do they go? You go into a juvenile center where the people over there are also not trained to deal with transgender communities. They don't know how to deal with a transgender child. Others say we've heard lots and lots of stories about the people trying to reconvert them in some ways as well. It's quite horrific. As a society, we're not ready to tackle it. We don't know how to tackle it. And I think it has not yet become, A, I don't think it's become normalized, and B, we don't have the tools within our systems right now to be able to adequately do it. So I think at the very basic thing is start off with the shelter homes for children, as well as you said, with the old age persons, कि at least कहीं आप जा तो सकते हैं. We have, shelter homes for women and children, as you said. We need separate ones for transgender communities as well, run by transgender people as well, because that is also very important. Lekin Tisra, following up on the kind of work that Maha is doing, you have to start focusing on empowerment through skills building, education, capacity building. Okay, it's not always ke the community is already very effective in protecting and taking care of themselves, but that has to be followed by state policy. And the state can easily do it, but the question is doing it properly. And that is the conversation we now need to move to, not just ke rights hai ya nahi hai, rights hai. What now? How do we ensure those rights and prevent violence and respond to violence?
So how do we ensure that whatever rights they have are actually implementable? Because from what we've heard, none of the rights that they have they get. So how do we bridge that gap?
They're implementable if they choose to be. If the person sitting at a police station and somebody goes in to register an FIR, they are implementable if that person chooses to implement them. Agar hum baat kare, I mean, this is something Shahzadi and I were talking about some time ago, is कि अगर कोई rape भी होता है transgender community का, unfortunately, जब आप medical पर जाते हैं, how trained is the medical officer to look at a trans body? Are they aware of the challenges that they face? We have a fantastic police surgeon, Dr. Sumayya, who's really trying to come up with localized understanding and modules to be able to translate that information further. अगर कोई case transgender community के खिलाफ होता है, which prison do they go to? Which, it's basic systems which are there. The law is there. How it is implemented and whether it is implemented is a choice of the individuals in that institution. So usme the awareness, empowerment, and just normalization and integration of that conversation. I think one of the things that Shahzadi referred to when we met for the first time and I found out the extent of violence is the fact is we are ignorant. Us allies and people not from that community, we are ignorant. We have to find out ways to ally and support. And not based on what we think is best, but based on what is needed. And a panel like this should be focusing on what next, what next. And I think Maha is far ahead with her organization on doing that as well. And that is an example we should be taking much further.
But this is a conversation that I was having with Shahzadi when we had met on a call. And I think one of the issues is that you were saying that people want to see you in certain roles, want to see this community in certain roles. And if you step out of those roles, then there is not a lot of acceptability because the only acceptability is built around some traditional roles. And like you had said earlier in this panel, that nobody should be able to dictate to you what role and how you choose to live your life. So would you like to expand on that a little bit?
Like as I said earlier. मुझे लगा सर आप कर लेंगे. Like I said earlier, people choose certain roles for our transgender community that in a cultural ways. Like we respect all the cultures, our Hijra cultures, but it's our choice to follow the culture or not. After the social media, people suddenly find out that the trans people having sexual attraction or sexual feelings. And finally, after the Facebook, Pakistani society find out that they are not only fakir, but few of them are prostitutes. And they suddenly change the narrative of whole society. Like, it's not like, I think every human being have sexual feelings. And in our cultural system, in our Khwaja Sara system, it's forced us to be fakir. Like if I am not follow to this Khwaja Sara culture or fakiri culture, that's my choice. Even this thing changed within a community by the Gen Z Bachas. Gen Z Bachas change whole the narrative of even mine. In our families, we always like listening by our family that we are wrong. We are doing wrong. When we go left our home, then we listening that we are doing wrong. But actually we are not doing wrong. We are living our own life and Gen Z bachas give me this like power to understand, like I'm the guru of them, but they give them this lesson that Shazadi, that's your life. And to be honest, I change the culture because I have certain power in cultural system, in cultural hierarchy. So I do, and I just open things that, like in Khwajasra culture, we should have some space to give our new Gen Z bachas to live their life by their own rules and regulations. And this is very important for us. Like बहुत दफ़ा ऐसा भी होता है कि सोसाइटी की तरफ से एक सर्टन रोल्स हमें दे दिए जाते हैं, हम कहीं भी जाते हैं तो ऑफ़र आ जॉब, मतलब मुझे कई दफ़ा ऑफ़र आ जॉब, एक जब भी ऑफ़र हुई है जॉब की, वो बहुत इनिशियल डेज़ में 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, और जब मैं कहूँ कि इतना तो मेरा किराया लग जाएगा, दे सेड इसीलिए तो आप लोगों का ये हाल है. आप ये चीज़ समझें और थोड़ा सा अपने दिमाग को इस लेवल पे लेके जाएं कि अगर एक इंसान 2 लाख रुपए सेक्स वर्क से कमा रहा है, उसने अपनी कब्र में ख़ुद जाना है, उसकी क्या हालात हैं ये आपको नहीं मालूम है, तो प्लीज़ उसे फोर्स ना करें कि वो आपके घर आके मज़दूरी करे और आपको चाय बना के दे और आप उसको खैराती 20,000 दे के उसको टोकनाइज भी करते रहें हर जगह कि ओ आई एम हायरिंग अ ट्रांस पर्सन, लुक आई एम सो प्रोग्रेसिव. तो ये तो वी नीड टू चेंज दिस थिंग. हर एक की अपनी चॉइस है, अपनी मर्ज़ी है, और एक बहुत बड़ा जो गवर्नमेंट के साथ है, आई एम अ पार्ट ऑफ गवर्नमेंट. एंड ऑनेस्टली मैंने ये अपनी जो हमारी इंटरनल मीटिंग्स होती हैं, मैंने उनको ये बात बताई है कि सर गिव अस जॉब्स ऑन आवर लाइक एबिलिटी, और एक सेरिब्रल अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ यू शुड गिव टू द ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी. एक इंसान को बचपन से लेके आपने तालीम नहीं थी, यू डोंट गिव द एजुकेशन राइट, यू डोंट गिव द फैमिली, उसने एक डिस्क्रिमिनेशन राय है, और उसके बाद एक लड़का और लड़की के साथ आप उसे कहते हैं नाउ वी आर गिविंग यू इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी, तो अब आप लोगों ने कॉम्पीट करना है. सो दिस इज़ रॉन्ग. स्टॉप डूइंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स, स्टॉप डिक्टेटिंग अस, जस्ट यू गिविंग अस द अपॉर्चुनिटीज़, यू जस्ट गिविंग अस द रिस्पेक्ट. और प्लीज़ ये बेचारा टाइटल अब हटा दिया जाए. हमारे अपने लोग अब बहुत एम्पावर्ड हैं, सिर्फ मैं नहीं, बहुत सारे लोग ऐसे मौजूद हैं पाकिस्तान में. लाइक वन ऑफ माई स्टूडेंट्स सुरखैना खानम, शी गॉट द स्कॉलरशिप इन लंडन, एंड वन ऑफ माई फ्रेंड आयशा मुगल, शी इज़ डूइंग PhD इन लंडन ऑन स्कॉलरशिप. सो हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, हमें आप रिस्पेक्ट दें. एंड द मोस्ट प्रॉब्लम फॉर द ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी स्पेशली, हमें सर्वाइव बाहर नहीं किया जाता. मैं अभी यहाँ से जाऊँगी, मुझे कल ट्रैवल करना है एंड आई हैव टू गो ऑन शॉपिंग, और सीरियसली सुबह से मैं सोच रही हूँ कि लाइक आई एम वेयरिंग स्लीवलेस और मुझे तारिक रोड जाना है. ये मसला औरतों के लिए भी है, बट जब मैं बात करती हूँ ना रक्षा वाले से, व्हेन आई टॉक टू द रक्षा वाला और उबर ड्राइवर, एंड व्हेन दे नोज दैट आई एम अ ट्रांस पर्सन, दे गेट सर्टन पावर. आपने चलना है, आप छोड़ दें, आप किराया ना दें, मैं आपके घर चल लेता हूँ. सो ये ऑफ़र्स जब आ रही होती हैं और हर रोज़ाना की बेसिस पे, तो वी ट्रांसजेंडर पीपल नॉट चूज़ टू डू वर्क. फिर हम डायरेक्टली सेक्स वर्क रात में कर लेते हैं और कहते हैं ठीक है, जो आप हमें एज्यूम कर रहे हैं हम उसी लेवल पे जाएंगे. तो मेरे आगे अभी एक बहुत प्रोग्रेसिव लोग बैठे हैं, तो मेरी प्रोग्रेसिव लोगों से जो शिकायत है वो यही है कि हमें एडवाइस करना आप बंद करें. जो जंग हमने लड़ी है अपने आप को इस तरह बनाने के लिए, आप सोच भी नहीं सकते. तो आप जब वो चीज़ फील नहीं कर सकते तो हमें एडवाइस ना करें कि हमें ज़िंदगी कैसे गुजारनी है. इफ़ अ पर्सन इज़ हैप्पी टू डूइंग अ सेक्स वर्क, इफ़ अ पर्सन इज़ हैप्पी टू डूइंग अ डांस फंक्शन, वो अच्छा अर्न करना है, तो दैट्स देयर चॉइस. डोंट डिक्टेट अस, और फिर हमें ब्लेम ना करें. ये कम्युनिटी सुधरना नहीं चाहती है, हम अपने बेसिक ह्यूमन राइट्स चाहते हैं, हम ये बेचारा लेबल नहीं चाहते. थैंक यू सो मच.
But also, Shahzadi, like the main aspect of this is that all of these professions are existing because the society is also facilitating them. At one end they want for the community to be extinct, but at the other end, they're also the ones giving them that working opportunity. And coming back to the bit of education, so I was speaking to a transgender friend of mine, and she educated me about this, that our aging processes are also very different. You know, when we are put into school, as we grow older, our emotional intelligence is a lot different, because we're growing up in a family dynamic where we've got our parents, we've got siblings, maybe different, it may vary from person to person, but for a transgender person, their aging process is that they're aging into a lot of loneliness. That emotional intelligence obviously does come, but it doesn't come the way it would for, say, myself, because there's no parents there. Even if they are, then that sort of dynamic is very different. Siblings, houses, there's a lot of change that happens there. So if I were to go to school, I will be done with my university, say at 23, 24. By 25, I'm doing an internship. It's not the same for a transgender person. Eventually, if they are inducted into a school, it will take them a lot longer. So if they are interning, say at the age of 28, but I've seen a lot of institutions give them managerial roles, you know, just to show off, that, oh, we are so progressive, we are so inclusive, we've hired this person. Their training is also not being done that way. So how would you
Uh, like we discussed lot of the problems. Let's be like discuss and giving such credit to the Sindh government. Like Sindh government is working on the policy for the transgender community, and this in policy, the two type of education we will give to the transgender community. One for those who have some age issues, and the other side is giving like education with all the boys and girls, and we really don't want to separate everything.
100%?
So we really want some people to merge in the society who really want, but few people who have some psychological, because most of the transgender people have some social anxiety.
Trauma.
Like we take so much drugs to go for a bagging. आसान नहीं होता. It's not easy to stand the whole night in the signal.
Yes.
कोई आ रहा है आपको थप्पड़ मार रहा है, कोई आ रहा है आपको harass कर रहा है. So we are doing with, we just discuss all these things with the Sindh government, and I like, thanks to the Sindh government, like they approve. We are on the last stages to approve this policy for the transgender community. And I just want to share one more thing, because 2 months ago I went to the America, and I meet with the community, and they identify themselves as a disabled. You can say specially able. And I said, why you label yourself? Because they said that we people, we trans, we LGBTI community suffer a lot the mental health issues.
Yes.
From ADHD to other mental health issues to social anxiety. So we consider ourselves as a special people, but in Pakistan there is no such kind of concept, and we really want to start with the support of like you people, with the support of Maha, and Malia is our like best ally, and thank you so much.
And one thing I would like to elaborate, like in a very last, like the people, as Shizadi said, the people call us the fakir, and you know, you have a spirituality. As you mentioned before, that I'm a member of Town Municipal Corporation, and due to my background has been attached from the human rights, so they give me another opportunity. They pay another opportunity. They provide the human security, give the honor to as a human security committee as a chairperson. So in every Friday I will sit on my cabin to discuss the town level women's issues and all that. One day I was seated similarly after Jummah Namaz. A few of women come to me, and I said, let's discuss your issue. What's happened? You have? She said, मेरी बहू को बच्चा नहीं हो रहा, आप फकीर हैं, दुआ कर ले. Like I said, I'm here for your security, not for the fertility issue. So that's thing a society have a concept like we have a show our empowerment, we have a discuss about the all legislation, everything. At the end, the people say, हमारे लिए दुआ करना, आपकी दुआएं बड़ी लगती हैं. यार अल्लाह ताला ने नई पावर नहीं दी है हमें, कोई एक्स्ट्रा पावर नहीं दिया है. We are a similarly human being like you.
But like we are doing this.
But
like we are, this is our survival thing.
It is a
When
survival
we like, हमें जब भी कहीं
Sometime-
मसला होता है, when we are in police station,
यार फिर
Like
मारो
we-
ना ना हमें, फिर हमें कत्ल ना करो.
And only
Yeah.
this thing works. Nothing else works at all. I've seen some of the educated people look down upon, you all, and it hurts me. And like you said, you haven't had any formal training, but I could hear you. I was sitting with all my students, and I was telling them, look, she hasn't been, and she's speaking with so much confidence, and I'm so proud of you all. And, it makes me feel really, really proud because you see, at the end of the day, we all are human, and you're clear in mind. Your concepts are so clear and so nice, and I just don't have any questions for you. Just this, that I'm very proud of you.
Lovely.
And whatever you're doing for yourself is so good. Excellent.
I think there's a question from the audience. I don't know which one of you would like to take it. Who do you blame the most for your displaced identity?
I don't think we should blame.
religion.
I'm blaming all of the society because
I guess the religion is the main reason. I think religion is the main reason, like people manipulate the religion by their own benefits, and religion is not mentioned such kind of gender identity which is exist naturally by born, and इसमें हमारा कोई कसूर नहीं है, but this is main chapter is missing in religion, and that's why this chaos is happening in our societies, and we are facing this all this hate, and I taking direct this to the religion. I think this is a bit controversial, but yeah, this
Yeah,
is the
but
main
it's
reason.
about, like you said, an interpretation of religion, because no religion espouses hate. No religion
Exactly.
says hate.
I
Right?
totally
So-
the interpretation and the Maulvis and such third class Maulvis who is preaching all the time hate in the name of religion, and government is not arresting. Unfortunately, our government has not such power to arrest those Maulvis and preachers who do openly hate speech, not for a transgender community but the women as well.
Yes.
I seen many, I sitting them many of times, and they doing these things, and I think you are right. The manipulation of the religion and the interpretation of the religion is the main reason of what we like facing in our society.
So the other question is, what roles do social media and online platforms play in perpetuating transphobia?
I guess this question is very related to me because last 3 years regularly I'm facing the transphobia and like death threats, and even Al Qaeda, such big terrorist organization, threatening one of our transgender person by taking their name, like why they people are allowing to participate in the politics. So this is the main issue, and main other thing is like the platforms such like Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, they don't have such good complaint mechanisms which affects us a lot. And I had so many meetings thanks to the DRF and Nigar Dat, had so many meetings with them, but still they have their own benefits, and they have so many issues to translate the language. उर्दू में लोग गालियाँ दे रहे हैं, मैं सिर्फ लिख दूँ shut up तो मुझे एक notification हो जाएगा कि you are wrong. So ये एक मसला है.
Can I
Yeah,
just
yes,
add
yes,
to
yes.
this?
Please
And I
do.
think it's supporting what Shahzadi says. I think we've seen this. And this is the call out to all of the social media platforms as well as the spaces that they are given. इसके वो आपका जो contextual reality जो होती है, YouTube का office सिंगापुर में है, डबलिन में है, why are we not contextualizing it? And that is the responsibility of social media platforms, which they do not take. The concept of hate speech is not just white America hate
Yes.
speech, it has to be contextualized. And it should be a demand for them. And for transgender community and other marginalized community as well. As like you said, shut up is bad, but Urdu ki ganiyan doesn't make a difference. Death threats don't make a difference. All of that thing. We need to start improving our own social media control as well.
Thank you. How can we promote acceptance and inclusivity in families and communities?
First of all, Hello. Yeah. First of all, as you know, that we have a history. Involve our history in your curriculum from your first stage till the PhD level, because it is a necessary, because we have a history for the very of kind of the milestone for in the past and now as well as, and even the, at least educate that this is a responsibility of education system, because you know in a many of foreign institution that they have provide the family counseling along with their child and student. So we need to be need to be focused on the family counseling, that they accept the way we are.
That's a very good point. Excellent.
Just accept the way we are the human being. Only for the disowning, through of the disowning and only disowning by family, we came out and we are attached with the stereotype. That
अगर
is
हम अपने
actually
करिकुलम में कुछ चैप्टर्स ऐड करें फॉर रिस्पेक्ट टू द ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी, रिस्पेक्ट टू द माइनॉरिटीज़, बहुत बड़ा चेंज आएगा. एटलीस्ट 100 साल बाद जो जनरेशन आएगी वो इस चीज़ से अवेयर होगी. So it's a Beacon House school as well.
Yeah.
तो आप ऐड
And even Beacon House should be promote the inclusivity in their staff and their student. Like as my moderate has shared already shared that the Greenwich University has provided the 100% scholarship for the transgender person. Right now, out of 12 people are studying in different faculties in masters and bachelor. So why not this initiative taking part from the Beacon House?
This question is for you.
Yeah.
Since
But
I,
we can-
okay,
we-
I can
it's-
answer it in a very short way,
Yeah.
which is that we have a well-being program at Beacon House, and in that what we are teaching is inclusivity. And I think the main thing is when you accept yourself, you accept other people. When you reject yourself, when you're not able to deal with your own self, then you project that outwardly, and then you reject other people as well. So I think we're working on that basis, and we will hopefully get to a part where we are able to be much more inclusive. Thank you to all the panelists. As you can see, I
Kindly
need to
wind
wind
up
up the
the
session. So thank you all of you for being here. It was really my privilege to moderate this, and I really appreciate you coming and sharing your stories. And Malia and Maha, thank you so much for your time and all the attention you give this matter. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you for being a wonderful audience.